Hi everyone, this is Renee from the Bass Cave. In this video I'm going to shim a bass. If you have not heard of this term, a shim is a very thin wedge that is inserted between neck and body of the bass to change the angle of the neck in relation to body and strings. Sometimes you can see this done with a small piece of sandpaper. I have this beautiful LTD 8-string bass. Looks good, sounds good, but plays terribly. I tried all combinations with lowering the action and changing the neck tension. It's either too hard to play or a terrible buzz. When I'm measuring the neck curve, it becomes quite clear what's happening. The neck goes off in a slight angle, resulting in this terrible string action. Any attempts to give the neck a proper curve results in even higher action. The bridge saddles cannot counteract. It's time to shim the neck. With this 8-string, I have 6 neck screws and a pretty large area. And I really want this neck to connect properly with the body so the sound from the neck is projected well into the body. So I'm going to build my own shim, starting with this 1mm wood board or sheet rather. Of course, it's not going to be easy. Stringing an 8-string is a chore. And this instrument is very hard to acquire, so I better be careful. I found a few tricks on the internet, and I have a few of my own. Let's get this party started. The bass neck leaves the body in an angle. We need to counteract by adding some padding to the body end of the joint with a shim. Look at these drawings, how they are changing the string action on the bass. Step 1, strings off. With an 8-string bass, this is as tedious as it sounds. Double the strings, very little room to maneuver on the head. Thin and pointy strings, special hardware works. Taking them off takes a bit more than 6 minutes. Putting them back on is about 20 minutes. And string winders don't work here. Step 2, screw the neck off. I have 6 screws. I loosen them in opposite pairs, habit from changing car tires. Careful in the end, when the whole weight hinges on one screw, we don't want it to bend or rip. Now we are crafting the shim. I create a shim cardboard template with a pencil outlining the neck and the body. I will cut it out and transfer the shim's shape onto the wood. This is low effort and inexpensive. Just start over when you got it not quite right. The wood board I use is 1.5mm thick, can be cut with scissors easily. Check the fit, it should cover the whole surface. Again, now is the time to get it right. I tried a few times. Now we need to get one end of the shim thick and the other end as thin as possible. Here's a little trick I found for fixing it onto the work surface. Stick masking tape to the wood and to the work surface where they should meet. Put a little super glue in between and you have a strong bond to the workbench. You can see here I only fixed it on one end. When shaping the shim into a wedge profile, I saw a few approaches, decided to go with sanding by increasing pressure when pulling in one direction. Here I work with sandpaper attached to a cylinder shape. Sand along the shim going from no pressure to maximum pressure. Try and feel with your fingers along the edges. The end should be barely distinguishable from the work surface. When it starts to fray, then you know you are close. To have enough backup options, I made a bunch of them. Getting the shim off the workbench might be challenging because the wood is thin and has been pressed against and bonded with the tape. Use a thin scraper to help you get it off. To avoid unevenness, you should cut holes for the screws. Here a little trick to get them in the right spot. Put small pieces of tissues in the screw holes, put some paint on it, shim on top, and voila, you know where the holes are. By now the shim is really thin and fragile. I would not use a driller. Here I carefully cut the holes using driller heads in increasing sizes. Let's do the maths. Usually shims have an angle around 1 degree. With the length of my shim, I would be well below that, even with the thicker 1.5mm sheet. and the neck looks as if it would need the maximum angle. Makeshift solution, stack 2 shims on top of each other to get the desired gradient. I cut the second one in half. This felt to be the most even ascent. Neck back on, personal preference. I gradually tighten the screws in opposite pairs. A small issue I fix here: while I have the strings off, the pickups are too wobbly and clicking around. I replace the sponges they are sitting on with stronger foam. Funny story, it was the packaging material of awesome EMG pickups and a perfect fit. Now they are solid. Strings back on. It really takes me 20 minutes. Setting up the action with the shim adjustment was a bit of a challenge. I had to undo all the previous desperate measures to deal with the high string action. The truss rod had been tightened to the max. Also, the shim changed how the strings sit on the bass. As a result, I had to significantly raise the bridge and the pickup so the strings make it over the heightened neck. See this drawing. Based on my experience with basses and in particular 8 strings, I would rate this an extreme case. I would criticize the build of this bass. The neck cavity angle is not quite right. But with the shim in place, I got the instrument playing really well now. I did before and after sound samples. The bass sounds almost indistinguishable the same, but playing it is way more fun now. Where I can hear a difference, the bass notes are much more refined on this heavy riff. Tapping goes much more easy. And slapping is more refined. Now I can actually do stuff with it. Stay tuned, like, share, and please subscribe. Over and out from the Bass Cave.